Shai. Shaul is after David again. The Zifim told Shaul that David's near them and he came to look for them. David notices the Shaul, like his 3,000 choicest elite crack troops who are coming to catch him, and they're camped. And David inspects them, finds out where they are. He goes back to his camp and then he picks Abishai. And everybody comes with him and they quietly step into the circle with Shaul is in the middle and all asleep. And not only Shaul asleep, everyone's asleep. Okay? David and Abishai steal Shaul's spear and his Nagelwasser bowl.
Really? His Nagelwasser bowl?
Whatever, it says his thing of water next by his head. Right? And
Why did they steal him? Why did they steal?
You'll see in a second. And then they left very quietly. And then David goes on the mountain and shouts to Avner, and he says, Avner, you and your men deserve to die for not looking after the king. Why? Because someone came in the middle of the night and stole the king's spear and his water bowl, right? And you shouldn't have let that happen. And then Shaul hears David's voice, says, "What, is that you, David?" And that's what we're up to. Okay, let's go.
You guys left on a cliffhanger.
Yeah. Right.
It's about to get real.
Shaul, let's call David, and Shaul, I'm doing just from Yud Zayin. Shaul recognized, Pasuk Yud Zayin, page 79, chapter 26, Chavav, Yud Zayin. Shaul es kol David. Shaul recognized. Lehakir, to recognize. Tamakiroti, do you recognize it? Lehakir. Shaul es kol David. Shaul recognized the voice of David. Couldn't see him because physically he was far away, and also it was probably very dark, so it's still night. David. Hey, there is a question. Hey, is that your voice? Your voice. This. Is this your voice, my son David? David, Koili, Adoni HaMelech. It is my voice, my master the king. And David continues. Lama ze Adoni rodef acharei avdo. Why this? My master chases after his servants. Means what's going on? Didn't I already prove to you that I've got nothing against you when I could have killed you when you were in the cave and I cut off your garment to prove to you? So why are you coming after me? Why are you still doing it? Zeh means this. It means this that you're doing. Why are you doing it for? Ki me asisi. What have I done? Uma biyadi ra. What evil is there in my hand? When me asisi was what I've done to you. In the sense of, did I challenge you? Did I hurt you? Did I want to kill you? No. There's other bad things. Maybe I'm a Chal Shabbos. Maybe I steal. Maybe I do other things that have nothing to do with the king. Right? Both would justify the king pursuing him to a certain extent. And David said, I've not done anything wrong. I've not done you anything wrong, and I've not done anything wrong. Ki me asisi, what have I done? Uma biyadi ra. What evil is there in my hand or in my record? Ve'ata. Now, Yishmana Adoni HaMelech. Please. Right? No, I can't really mean now because he says Ata. Ata means now. Here, no probably means please because he's talking to the king. When you talk to the king, you don't give him instructions. You ask nicely. Ata Yishmana Adoni HaMelech es divrei avdo. Please let the king hear the words of his master. I mean, I'm going to make a plea. I'd like you to listen and think about what I have to say. Yeah? Sorry, his servant, correct. Now, this is a very, very hard sentence, but let's translate it slowly and then try to put it all together. Im Hashem hesischa bi. Now, the verb hesischa, the root is not sure. Right? Obviously, the samach and the sof are root letters.
Question.
Right? No, it's not a question. If it was a question, it'd be a chatef patach. Right. This is not. No. Lehasit means to incite somebody. When I incite you, when I incite a dog to bite you, right? It's called lehasit. So when someone incites you to do an aveira, it's also called a mesis. We had this when we learned Sanhedrin. It's a special halacha when somebody else tries to persuade other people to serve Avodah Zarah, even if he himself doesn't serve Avodah Zarah, he's still chayav meat. It's called a mesis. Okay, so that's a mesis. That's why I don't think the hey is a root letter. I think the hey is just to call somebody else. Right? So someone incites you. So if Hashem has incited you be against me, Be here means against me. If that's what's going on, so I don't try to understand. If God has put it in your head, God has incited you against me, Yarach mincha. He will smell, Yarach, like lahariach, reyach, nichoach, to smell. Mincha, what's mincha?
Min.
Not
Middle.
David.
That's a classic mistake. It's a
What,
good mistake.
what'd you say?
Afternoon.
Yeah, well, the mincha.
Mincha is the prayer that we do in the afternoon, but the word mincha has got nothing to do with that.
Sacrifice.
The word mincha means a present. The word mincha
from you.
means a present.
It means mincha from you.
No, that would be with a chaf. This is with a ches. No. It's a mincha. When Yaakov Avinu gives a present to Esav, he uses the word mincha. Right? It's not meaning he didn't pray. It wasn't in the afternoon. It doesn't mean that. Mincha means a present. The reason why the afternoon service is called mincha
We didn't have.
is because it's a very special present to God. Because in the morning, you're not doing anything else, you just got up. In the evening, you come home. So you're not busy. In the middle of the day, when you're busy, working, making money, and mincha takes you out of your schedule, so mincha is considered a very special present. Okay? A mincha means a flower offering. It's a present that a very poor person gives. Because it's also considered a special present. When a rich person does a sin, he brings a cow, big deal. It's not a big thing out of his bank account. But a poor person, even though he only gives a tiny flower offering, for him it's a big deal. Okay, the word mincha means a present. So, yarach mincha, God will smell the present.
Yeah, what?
That's what it means. If God has incited you against me, then he will smell a present.
Then I'll die.
No, I don't think it means that. I think it means that then I have a simple solution. If it's really God, all I have to do is do tshuva. I'll bring a korban and it'll be fine. That's what David's saying. If it's just the Kadosh Baruch Hu who's there, it means the Kadosh Baruch Hu says, look, I want to punish David. God's done nothing wrong. If he's punished, that's why I'm sending Shaul. Okay, so I'll do tshuva, which David hints to by saying, I'll bring a korban and that'll be part of my tshuva. That's not all you do, right? But it's relatively easy to solve a problem when the only person angry with you is God.
Yeah.
Right? Relatively easy. The im b'nei adam, but it's people who incited you, and that's more difficult to deal with. And I think the idea is because people are bali bechira, means people have the ability to choose, and to interfere with their choice is very difficult because God doesn't like to interfere with people's choices.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, it's much harder to deal with people than to deal with God. Even though God is in charge of the whole picture, but when you deal with people, you have to get them to change their mind. Or you have to pray to God that they should change their mind. God doesn't generally do that. If a person wants to do something, God will let him do it. This doesn't contradict the idea that people can't hurt you if God doesn't want them to. God really doesn't want someone to do something to you, he won't let them do it. But sometimes that's not a big deal. I'll give you a good example of this. Later on in the Book of Shmuel, Shmuel gives David 3 choices of punishment. He did something wrong and he was punished. He gives 3 choices. Right? You can either, I'll send you being chased by your enemies, or there'll be a plague where people will die, or what was the third one? You'll be ill. Anyway, David's answer was something we say in our prayers every day. Ayomer David el God, Sali Ma'oid, Nipna b'yad Hashem, u'b'yad Adam el Apoyla. You recognize that? Ayomer David said to God the prophet, right?
Oh, God.
God the
Oh,
prophet.
this is during Lachun.
Tachanun,
Yeah.
right? What do you say?
God?
Gad.
God.
Gimel Dalet, that was his name. Like one of the 12 tribes, isn't it? Right? Sali Ma'oid, I'm under a lot of pressure. Nipla na b'yad Hashem, let me fall in the hands of God.
Yeah.
G-D. The Adam, and in the hands of man, Aleppo. Don't let me fall into the hands of man. Now, you could ask, what does David care? David care?
God is not a man. Oh, yeah,
There's two people, Yad Hashem, right? Right? So David, that was David's reaction to this offer. Gad, the prophet, came to David and said, God's given you three choices. You have to pick whichever one you want. And David picks. He said, I'd rather be in the hand of God than the hand of people. Even though ultimately people are also in the hand of God. So does it make a big difference? Yes, it doesn't. Apparently it makes a big difference. If what's happening to you doesn't involve human beings, just involves God, like the plague, right? So God makes you ill, right? So the only thing you have to deal with is your relation with God, right? That David prefers because that's relatively easy. But if God sends an enemy, so the enemy then has to change his mind. God has to make the enemy change his mind. Now God can do that as well, but he's less likely to do that. Because God doesn't like to interfere with other people's decisions. That's the idea. So it looks like that's what David is saying over here. If Hashem had incited you against me, it was just Hashem, then I'll bring a korban, means I'll do tshuva, and God will smell my korban, and then everything will be good. But in Bnei Adam, if it's people who were involved, Arurim Haim, they are cursed. Lifnei Hashem. Why are they cursed? What's so bad? Ki, because Gershuni. Let's see if we can work that word out. Gershuni.
Gershon.
So it is a name. Gershon happens to be a name, but you can't make a verb out of a name. Yeah. Gershuni means they've done something to me. So the word garesh, Gerushin is a divorce, right? Now this means to drive out, which is what you divorce. You drive out the wife from your house, okay? So Gershuni, they have driven me out. These cursed people are driving me out. What are they driving me out of? Hayom, today, just today, not yesterday. Today, they are driving me out. Mehistapeach. Now that's a really difficult word. Mehistapeach. It's difficult. It's one of these words where the roots are not in the right place. Remember that? Right, exactly. That tough isn't a root letter. The root letters are samach pei ches. You still won't know the answer, but at least now we know what the root is. The root is samach pei ches. It's a very difficult word. It's a very rare word. It means to be attached. We had it once, I think in Shmuel chapter base, where Eli is told that his children won't have a parnasa. What?
Spoiler.
No, Shmuel Aleph, sorry. Right? Eli's told his children would all be poor Kohanim, and they would be asked to be attached to another group of Kohen who were well off. So it means to be attached. And one of the forms of tzarat is called sapachas. It means the same word. It means you've got this plague which is stuck to you. All right? So they have driven me out today, mehistapeach, from being attached, benachlas Hashem, in the inheritance of God. So they're driving me out today from the inheritance of God. How? It doesn't say. Leimor, saying, Leich, go, avod, worship, Elohim acherim, other gods, or gods of others. Okay? Now, this is a weird passage. David saying, if it's God who got you incited, okay, we'll sort that out easy. But if it's people, they are cursed. Why do I curse them? Because today they are driving me out from attaching myself to the inheritance of God by saying, go and worship gods of others. What on earth is going on here? So I think Chazal definitely say part of what I'm saying, right? The idea is, as we're going to find out very soon, David has decided that because Shaul still wants to get him, there's no solution. He can't stay around. He's going to have to leave Eretz Yisrael. He's going to go to Chutz La'aretz. It's true he did that before, but then he was on his own, and he thought that he would get away from Shaul, and then the Navi told him to come back. Right? At that time he was on his own. Originally he was on his own and went to Pelishtim. That was his story. He first of all went to Pelishtim. Okay? Well, yeah, I knew so. Right? Right? Apparently it's viewed as Chutz La'aretz. Yes, I know it's a bit of a problem, and I know Yisrael's going to be very upset about it, but apparently, I don't know the answer, but apparently Chazal view that somewhat as Chutz La'aretz. To a certain extent.
Wait, could you say that it's yes, you have Eretz Yisrael, but also during this time, you did have an actual kingdom of Israel. And so outside of Israel could, in some cases, be viewed as Chutz La'aretz?
I don't think so, but if you're Zionistically inclined, maybe you'd say that. I don't see the significance of having a Jewish kingdom which is in Eretz Israel, but
I mean, like the Jewish kingdom, which doesn't cover all of Eretz Israel. But I
then
don't-
why would that be called Chutz La'aretz?
the land of the Plishtim, I mean, in this case, because it wasn't in, like, you weren't surrounded by other Jews, you were surrounded by.
Okay, maybe. Chazal use the word Chutz La'aretz, right? Whatever. Okay.
Alright.
Okay, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Mishrael thinks Chutz La'aretz. Answer is Chutz La'aretz. No, it's not Chutz La'aretz. Right? Okay, whatever. Anyway, now, we know, so David had once been in Pelishtim, he then came back to the land of Israel and was in the cave of Adullam, then he moved to Moab, and they didn't stay there very long because the Navi told him to go back, and then he was around the desert, but the whole time Shaul is chasing him. And David moves away, and David thinks that he can persuade him. He tried him once, he tried a second time. He says, look, there's no way. If people are inciting you against it, I have no solution, I'm going to have to go to Chutz La'aretz. Okay? So that's what he means, that these people are driving me out from attaching myself to the inheritance of God. The inheritance of God is the land of Israel. Right? So to speak, it's God's land, and it's his land forever. So it's the inheritance of God, like an inheritance. Okay, fine, that's good. So now I'm cursing. Why am I cursing these people? Because of their incitement against me, I'm now going to have to go to Chutz La'aretz.
Yeah.
Good? So far good. But then it says, saying, go and worship other gods.
Yeah.
What's that going to do with anything? He's not telling God, Tommy, to go and worship other gods. He's telling to go to Chutz La'aretz. You could be nice and from in Williamsburg, right? In Williamsburg, you can't be from.
No.
You can't be from in Manchester. You can't be from
You're serving false gods and you're out of Israel.
Oh, so where did that come from? From this passage. That's where Chazal got it from. You see it from David HaMelech. That David equates being forced to live in Chutz La'aretz with Avodah Zarah. David says that. There's no inherent connection, right? It doesn't have to be. You can be very from a Chutz La'aretz, but to a certain extent. Obviously, it's not real Avodah Zarah. Not everyone lives in Chutz La'aretz to get thrown off the roof because the Chayv Skila. No, it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that, right? Just like Chazal said, guys in a temper. It's also like Avodah Zarah. Get in a temper, so we throw you off the roof because you're in a temper? No, we don't do that. It's kilo, right? So the Chazal said the same thing. We have to understand why, but in a certain aspect of Chutz La'aretz relates to Avodah Zarah. And that's what David's saying. Now, just being in Chutz La'aretz itself isn't such a big deal, but this really bothers me. What a Chutz La'aretz is like? What's it going to do with Avodah Zarah? Makesha. You can't keep the mitzvahs of Trumas and Mitzvahs, but you can learn Torah all day and you can daven to Hashem. Like, what's a big deal? Well, what's it going to do with Avodah Zarah? You want to go like Chilul Shabbat? Why pick up Avodah Zarah? So the Ramban says the idea is that the direct relationship that you have with HaKadosh Baruch Hu it's not the same extent HaKadosh Baruch Hu says about the land of Israel, my eyes are searching what's going on in the land of Israel from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. What, God doesn't look at the whole world? Yes, but not to the same extent, right? So it's like in a bank. Yeah, you can have a personal relation with the bank manager, and every day he looks through to see that everything's fine. And you can have a clerk in the bank, and he doesn't take a big interest in you, but he's also got a job, right? That's sort of the. But who oversees the whole thing is the bank manager, but he doesn't put so much effort into every single guy as he does into these very special accounts. So apparently it's something like that, the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu relates to the rest of the world and to Eretz Yisrael. So even if you're Jewish, but you're in Chutz La'aretz, that's so. What's that going to do with Avodah Zarah? Because really that's what Avodah Zarah is. Avodah Zarah is the idea that Avodah Zarah is not an idea that God doesn't exist, that God didn't create the universe. Avodah Zarah is that God left the job of running the universe to intermediaries. So the Ramban says, to a certain extent, that's true. It is true to a certain extent. That idea is true. It's just that's not a reason to worship them. I like to give the example of a ATM.
Yeah.
Right. The ATM, in a sense, runs your account. You go in there, you put in the code, and the money comes out, right? If it doesn't come out, you don't get down on your knees and start saying, please, 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 because it won't work, right? You still have to pick up the line and call the bank manager if you want to get your money out. Get it? So that's the idea. God runs his world through an ATM. And it's true, but there's no point in praying to it, because it doesn't have Bechira to answer your questions. Only God can do that.
What's the ATM in this metaphor?
The Avodah Zarah. The powers that God gave to run the world. So that's the source of the concept of Avodah Zarah.
So are you allowed to use it but not serving it?
Well, God says you're not allowed to. Because God says you're not allowed to serve Avodah Zarah, right?
Hashem gave us the moon, we're not serving it, but we're using it.
We can, gotta give us some. We're not serving, but we're using it for the power of our things. So that's using Avodah Zarah.
Yeah, okay. God says you're not allowed to. Why? No, I hear the point.
It's not using Avodah Zarah because Avodah Zarah is serving Avodah.
No, it's not just that. You're not allowed to have any bit from Avodah Zarah at all. You're not allowed to use it at all. You're not even allowed to sit under the shade of an Avodah Zarah tree. No, you're not allowed.
So then, but what about the sun is
good question. Good question. You'll learn it's a very good question. It's a very good question. Chazal addressed this. Why are you allowed to benefit from the sun? The Goyim say Avodah Zarah. Mount Fuji, right? Is an Avodah Zarah. The Japanese worship it. Are you allowed to climb the mountain? You're allowed to sit on the mountain. There's all rules, right? The laws are like again. Those are the laws. Why is it like that? Because otherwise it'd be ridiculous. We could have forbid the moon, right?
There are different types of Avodah Zarah. Some of them don't actually do anything. But some of them Hashem gave power to change them.
Okay, that doesn't make any difference. Either way, you're not allowed to worship Avodah. You're not allowed to benefit from Avodah Zarah. But the point is that these things do exist. So David's saying, sending a Jew to Chutz La'aretz, even though that Jew is from, you get it? Even though that Jew is from and he's worshipping God and he's praying, but because the relation, he's not really Avodah Zarah. Chas v'shalom, the guy's very, very. But because he doesn't have that same direct relationship to a similar aspect of Avodah Zarah, which also relates to God in this indirect way. Right? I think that's the way to see it. And David is a big tzaddik, sees this as an awful thing, not having, because that's what David's life is about, having a direct relationship with God. And everything he does, he immediately sees, he's good, he sees a reaction. And he can relate, and he feels that warmth being in Eretz Yisrael. And now he's got to go to Pelishtim. Now it could be that, not exactly saying like Asher's saying, that although Pelishtim is technically part of Eretz Yisrael, it could be that because the Jews hadn't conquered them, therefore that closeness still wasn't there. Could be.
Would that apply to the modern state of Israel?
The what?
It's not a religious government, so therefore it could be akin to
I don't know why religion. I'm not suggesting religion can make a difference. There were lots of times in Tanach also were religious governments. There were in Eretz Yisrael, but I don't think anyone said, "Oh, therefore we can't feel God's." But it may have an effect, right? I still think that there's still a major difference between the Rambam writes, right? The person who's better to live in Eretz Yisrael in a town that's all over the Avodah Zarah than to live in a town in Chutz La'aretz where they're all from.
What?
That's the Rambam writes. Better to live in Eretz Yisrael in a town with full of Romans who have temples to Zeus and all sorts of shtiyat, right? And that's what they do, and all your neighbors are goyim. Better to do that than to live in Chutz La'aretz in Williamsburg.
So what's wrong with everybody? Why isn't nobody here?
But by the way, Sam Sofer says, but that is only on condition that you understand you'll be able to be from in amongst all these goyim. If you know that all your children's net friends are all going to pull them off to the Avodah Zarah, and your kids are going to grow up with the Avodah Zarah, that's not a reason. It means you have a kehillah, you have kosher food, you have a mikveh, you have a shul, and you have a minyan, but the neighbors are all goyim. No, I had lots of kosher neighbors, so a big deal. I don't know. Grew up from stuff. Yeah, all the guys may speak.
Where?
Catherine and Paul. All these goyim lived in my street in Manchester. The street now. What? Now they're all in. But when I was brought up, so it doesn't necessarily have to be. I had a Jewish school, I had a shul, I had Jewish shops. You understand? So anyway, that's the idea that David is saying. This is awful. I don't forgive these guys. I curse these guys, forcing me to flee Eretz Yisrael to go and serve other gods. That's what David says, and David is not happy about this. Because there's no solution. If God's inside of you, I can just do tshuva and that'll be fine. If other people, and that's a big deal, I'm going to have to deal and move. Ra'ata. It's another difficult passage. And now, Al yipol dami arza mineged penei Hashem. The words are not so difficult. Al means
On.
no, not an aleph. It doesn't.
Two.
Don't. Very good, Dylan. Come on. Al don't. But it's not when you give instructions. It's when you're asking for a favor, right? Usually al goes with no. Please. Remember we mentioned this from the Meshech Chochmah. Al means don't, but not when it's an instruction, because you can't instruct God what to do. You can ask him nicely, right? So you say al. Al yipol. Yipol means Yibol from the word nafal, where the nun has fallen out. To fall, right? The nun has fallen out from nafal to fall. Oh, it's interesting, you know that the word fall in Hebrew and English is the same word.
Fall.
Fall, same word. right? Just you don't hear it so much because in Hebrew it's got a pay. The pay and pay is the same letter.
Nafal.
No, foul. Okay, and as soon as you take the nun out, you've got foul. Okay. Al yipol dami, let my blood not fall, dami blood, out to the ground.
Let me survive.
Mineged pnei Hashem. Now, neged means opposite. Pnei, the face of Hashem. Opposite the face of Hashem. Mi neged, from being opposite the face of God. Let my blood not fall to the ground from opposite the face of Hashem. So you think that means I don't want to die? Yeah? But how would that fit into me neged pnei Hashem?
I don't want to die because of Averos. Because he said he might have to do tshuva, he's not sure.
What was me neged pnei Hashem?
It's still in the middle of the conversation.
Yeah, David's speaking to Shaul now. He's now making a prayer. Now, let my blood not fall to the ground from in front of the face of Hashem. And it's a weird puzzle. I think that David is praying for a different thing. I think the blood of David means his blood and sweat. And he means his efforts, his sacrifices that he makes. He wants them always to be in front of God's face to be his merit. And it's falling to the ground would mean to be like thrown away. Let my merits, which are through my blood, my fighting against the Philistines, to God, all those sacrifices that I make, right? Later on we'll see that David was told that he was very much praised for the blood that he had shed. So the blood which has come from my efforts shouldn't fall wasted to the ground. It should always be in front of God's eyes to be my merit. But if it is, it's going to do the rest of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Ki yotza melech Yisrael. Now he's saying the king of Israel has gone out, referring to Shaul, levakesh, to seek et parosh echad, one flea. Now he said this expression last time. Last time he said, I don't know what you want from my life. You're chasing a dead dog, one flea. Here he has a different message. He says the king, I'm still at one flea, right? And remember the one flea we said last time was not so easy to catch. It's not worth very much, but it's also very difficult to catch. And David, in his humility, considering himself not worth much, but you're not going to catch me because I can just jump around, right? Yeah. But then he says, the king of Israel has gone out to seek this one flea, kasher yirdof, like he would chase, hakore beharim, the something in the mountains. Now, koreh usually means to call, right? Now, you can't chase a call. Right? So the Mefarshim say this is the name of a bird which calls out, and that's why it's called the koreh. Now, why do people chase these birds? Because they're hunted. It's a bird that is hunted. I don't know what the bird is. I think it's called a partridge. It's a bird that is hunted. Okay? You know what partridge is? It's a bit like
a tree.
Oh, it's like a quail.
A quail, that's it, partridge. Yeah? Now, this is something that people hunt.
Or a finch.
They hunt them. They go out with these. At least you see these pictures. What's his name? The detective. What's his name? Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes. So you pick the guys in that tweed sort of colour, going out into the fields with his double-barreled gun, right? And they have this dog with them, and they and then they make the birds fly up in the sky, and they shoot them down, right? That's like going hunting. So apparently, this was common in those days as well. The king or royalty would go hunting partridges, right? So you're chasing me for fun, like you would go, like you're not going to catch me, right? And like because I could have already promised I'm going to be the next king. So you're just chasing me for fun, like kings royalty chase after them.
Knows he's not dying.
Yeah, so it seems, yeah. Although at one point he lost his faith because Shaul really almost got him, and at that point he said, "Amarti."
Why has the man forsaken me?
Very good. What's the pasuk?
Referring to
Shmuel.
But that was the same time.
Ani amarti b'chavsi kol ha'adam kaizeh. I said, in my haste, all men are liars. So Chazal say, even Shmuel. Because Shmuel said, I'm going to be the next king, and clearly it's not happening. So at that point, David's faith became a bit shaky. But that's not a problem. You know, no one's born a tzaddik. People go through situations. No.
Yosef was a tzaddik.
No. Nobody's born in tzaddik. It's Mufurish Chazal. Rasha tzaddik HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't. Person can have leanings towards being better than others.
I heard that there's Baal Tshuvos and then tzaddik emet. The true tzaddik is someone there's a tzaddik who's just like always pure, never sin, and there's a Baal Tshuvos.
Oh, I didn't see people that. Could be never sin.
Yehuda had his mistakes. Yosef, like.
I didn't say people make mistakes, but no one's born in tzaddik. You have to go through trials. Sometimes the guy might pass them all. That's what I say. What I meant is you have to. I didn't mean everyone has to stumble. Although most people do, right? But David HaMelech gave us the Book of Tehillim based on what he learned from his own situations. He doesn't want us to make the same mistakes. Right. So yes, that's for sure. It's the whole story of Ben we'll get there, right? So I'm saying even in his faith, right? His faith, his trust in God was something you have to work on. Okay, all right. So David said, I'm not worried because you're not going to catch me like you can't catch a flea. But it looks like you're doing it for fun, like people would chase a partridge in the mountains. So this is David's request for Shaul to leave him alone. Vayomer Shaul. Shaul said, Chatasi, I have sinned. Shuv b'ni David. Shuv means?
I return.
Very good. I'm glad you didn't make the second statement. It means to sit down. That's shev. Shev is to sit down. Shuv is from teshuvas. Return, my son David. Ki lo ara lecha. I will not do bad to you. Ora is from the verb to do bad. The aleph is I. Right? I will not. I promise. Anymore. I know I've been bad till now. I've done awful things, but I'm not going to do any more to you. Ki lo ara lecha. Oid. I won't do any bad to you anymore. Tachas means or in place of, same word, right? Asher yokra nafshi beinecha hayoim. That my soul was yokra, yakar. No, that's kara. Kara with an aleph. Yokra, precious, very good. Here the yud is not a prefix, it's a root letter, yakar. The reason why I say hey at the end, because nefesh is feminine. So yakra nafshi, my soul is precious, beinech in your eyes. Today I realize that you value my soul because you were there. You could have speared me to death, and you just took my spear instead. What? Yes, correct. But last time he never said to David to come back. Last time he just said, "No, I appreciate. Thank you very much. I'm really glad that you didn't kill me." Right? Now he says, look, I'm now, because now I see this, I got two proofs. You could have killed me in the cave, but I said, maybe you found that piece of material somewhere. But here it's clear, that spear was Shaul's spear, right? His Negel Vassar was missing. They knew for sure this was not his. Okay? Hiskalti, I have been a sachal. A sachal is a fool. So it's a verb to be, there's a verb in Hebrew to be a fool. Right?
Shaul's doing Shiur now.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah, Hiskalti, I've been foolish. V'eshke, and I have. That's like the word shogeg means to make mistakes. I've made mistakes. Harbe ma'od, I've made lots of mistakes. I've been very foolish in my pursuing you. So does David say, yes, Shaul, come and give him a big hug? No, he does not trust him. Yeah, now you are. What will be tomorrow when you're on your black mood? You'll try and spear me again, right? Vayan David, vayomen. David said, Hine. Hine means, behold, Chanis HaMelech is the spear of the king. Ya'avor echad me'anaharim. Ve'ya'avor. Ve'ya'avor means, and he will pass. Echad me'anaharim, one of the lads. That means tell one of your lads to come over here, to pass from where you are to here. Ve'yikacheha, and he will take it. Notice the Negel Vassar is not mentioned. So according to my chat, it's very good. Shaul doesn't need his Negel Vassar back, right? There's lots of Negel Vassar you can buy in 5 shekel, right? And what the reason why, if David took it for some specific reason, you've got to give it back, right? He just did it, in my opinion, so Shaul wouldn't chase after him because he'd have to wash his Negel Vassar before he chases after.
Still the king's.
No, but
there's another bowl. You can't have a special one with his name on.
But that's
might have had, but that's the whole. No, that's the whole thing. If David took it because. That's the whole point. If he took the spear and the bowl because they were specifically Shaul's, then you got to give them back. But if that's not why it wasn't a spear, because it was just any old job, so why did he take it? I just want to prove my chat. He took it not because he needed this to identify this with Shaul's. No, they're all the same. He wanted that Shaul wouldn't be able to run after him when he woke up in the middle.
Well, if it
He
is
still took it from the king.
Still what?
He still took it from the king regardless.
Yeah, but it's not the king's negavasable. When the king gets when you go and get a negavasable in the morning, right? You don't say, "Oh, this is mine." They're all the same, right? It's not, so I don't know if the king had a special negavasable. I have done, but you have to. I'm suggesting he didn't. That's why did David take it for a completely different reason.
well, if he doesn't do complete teshuva, maybe it's hinting that he's not doing complete teshuva, and it is spiritual, and he doesn't care.
Okay. Anyway, okay. We'll always have some deeper reading, but beautiful. Okay. So when you give your class, you won't call it pshat, you'll call it sod, right? The sod. What's the sod behind the Shmuel? I'm sure there is. I have no doubt about it. I'm not. Okay. That's the point. By Hashem. Okay. God, Yashiv, should return Aish to the man et tzidkato, his righteousness. Is David saying, look, today I'm the big tzaddik and never God should reward me for what I did today. I could have killed you and I didn't.
Right.
The es emunah. It's a prayer that God should reward him and help him, because don't forget that David is going to go out to exile now and he's looked after. Right? He's going to go back to the same place where they want to kill him, right? He's going back to Palishtim, and last time he was in Palishtim, what happened?
Didn't work.
They tried to kill him, right? So he needs God's help. So he's praying now that God should help him and repay him for his righteousness and his faith. Hashem esancha Hashem hayom, because God gave you this day biyad, in my hand. V'lo avisi, and I did not agree. Ava is to agree. V'lo avisi, I did not agree to Avishai. Avishai wanted me to kill you, or give him permission to kill you. I didn't agree l'shloach yadi, to send my hand b'Mashiach Hashem, against the anointed one of God. And I don't deserve your thank you, but I deserve a thank you from God, and I want to cash in on that. God's prepared to help me. V'hinei, ka'asher godlo nafshecha hayom hazeh be'enai. Just like, hinei, behold, ka'asher, just like, godlo nafshecha, I made your soul great. Means you appreciate that. I made you, considered you of value. Just like I made your soul great, hayom hazeh, this day.
Where's made? Behold that.
We have to say that. No, because it says, God lo nafshecha, you're right. It means your soul is big. Be'enai, in my eyes. It means, I demonstrated today by my actions that I considered your soul great. Get it? But the demonstrated by my actions and them, that's what it means, right? Just like today, your soul is big in my eyes. Cain, like midah keneged midah, Tigdal nafshi, let my soul be viewed as great. My soul should be made great. Be'enei Hashem, in God's eyes. Like just like my actions, I showed I value your soul. I want God to show He values my soul. V'yatzileni, and He will save me mikol tzara, from any dire situation, which He knows He's going in for. He's not actually worried about Shaul anymore because he's intended to flee the country. Shaul can't get him if he's in foreign territory. But there's other problems there, from the fire to the frying pan, right, as they say. Okay?
Sarah is a situation.
Sarah is a narrow situation, one which is constraints, like Kol ha'olam kuloi geshet tsar. Tsar, what does it mean? It means narrow. Narrow. It doesn't mean tsar, which is pain. It's a different word. Sa'ar is pain. Tsar means narrow. Something can be narrow and not painful. Right? Very good. Right. Now, sometimes being straight can be painful, right? But it's still not the same word. It doesn't mean the same thing. And here he's saying, I know I'm going into situations which will be difficult to maneuver, be less room to move, okay, and that will make life difficult. And there's a pay over there. Let's continue. Shaul el David. Shaul now, and that was David, the end of David's speech. Shaul said to David, Baruch atah b'ni David. Blessed are you, my son David. Gam aso ta'aseh. You will also do, meaning in addition to what you've done now, I know for sure that you'll do lots more great things. The gam yachol tuchal, and you will also be able. Now that's really weird, because don't you really usually say the other way around? You say you will be able. That's one thing, and you will do it, because lots of people are able and they don't. Right? But I suppose there's lots of people around as well. Lots of people do when they're not able to. That means they're doers, but they don't have the means, the strength, the finances to do it. So they can't actually do what they would like to do. Right. So it could be asot ta'aseh means means you're a doer, and you'll succeed in your doings. Shaul is giving him a bracha that he will do and succeed and become king, which is all implied because Shaul already knows that. As you mentioned last time, they departed. David went on his way, and Shaul went back to his place, to Givat Shaul. David said to his heart, which means, it's just an expression you would say, he said to himself, Ata, now, Esafeh.
Yes. Aish.
So the Aleph is I, and the root letter is Samach Pei.
So,
Yeah, so it's either from the word Sof, which means the end, which means I will come to my end one day. Means he's now going to say, if I stay around, it's not going to be good, because Shaul's going to catch me, and it'll be my end, right? I don't think that that's what it means. It might mean then, Esafeh Yom Echad B'Yad Shaul. Then you'd have to say, one day, by being in the hand of Shaul, I will come to my end, right? I think it's from the word, like Chag HaAsif. What's Chag HaAsif? The ingathering festival. It's another name for Sukkot. When you take everything that's been drying out in the fields during the summer, and you bring it into the barn to be food for the animals in the winter. So it's called Chag HaAsif. Asif means to gather in. So he's saying, one day I will be gathered into the hands of Shaul. Means one day he's going to catch me. It's the same thing. It's the same idea. It means one day, if I stay around, one day Shaul's going to catch me. It means he's going to take me and bring me in. What?
Well, the first one is saying, if I stay, I will. And the other one's saying, even if I leave, I will.
No, either means he needs if he stays. If I stay, I'll come to my end, or if I stay, Shaul will catch me. And then it'll bring my end. It's the same solution. I just discussing the root only. Okay?
Right.
One day I think it means I will be caught and then taken captive and being put in a cell. Or through the hands of Shaul if I stay around. Ainli tov, it's not good for me unless the only solution, ainli tov, unless you have to add the word unless, right? Unless what I do, imalet. What's imalet mean? To flee. To flee or to escape is a better word. Flee is lanus. The imalet means to escape. Okay? So my only solution to escape is El Eretz Pelishtim, the land of the Philistines.
Can we go on to...
Now, doesn't that a really silly decision? Go somewhere else. Go to Moab. Go to Ammon. Go to England. Right? Go to America. Why go to the Philistines? He went there last time. Remember, he went to the Philistines? And what happened? They said, this is David who killed Goliath. Let's get him. And David started acting mad and writing on the wall. Drew and pretending he was crazy. And then they said, it must be somebody else. Right? But now, he's coming back and it's going to help him. He'll be in the same trouble. What do you think?
He can't go to more because
Okay, he can't go to Moab. I said go to England. I don't know why.
He can't go to... I'm saying he can't go anywhere in actual Chutz because the Navi told him.
The Navi told him not to go to Moab. So his only solution to go to... Okay, but it's still silly, no? Isn't it safer to stay in... Look, so far, he's been able to... Every time, he's managed to escape.
He's been able... Yeah, exactly.
Every time he managed to escape. So it looks like he's not putting his faith in God. I mean, not just that it's silly, it's more dangerous in Pelishtim, where they really want to get you, than staying here, where Shaul at least said he doesn't want to get him. He may change his mind. And the truth is, he's actually more successful this time. Right? He actually goes there, and the Pelishtim are happy to take him. And they don't chase him out. So let's see why. V'noash. Now you know this word. V'noash, because you're learning Bob Mitzvah. No one? You're learning Bob Mitzvah about Hashavas Aveda?
Yeah.
So what's this thing we're talking about the whole time? B'achloik is the Bayan Rava. Yish Yivadas. Yish. Right? Rava Ama Yish Yivadas. Have a Yish. You know that? What's Yish?
Like giving up hope.
Giving up hope. That's the same word. V'noash. And he will give up hope. Means Shaul will give up hope from me. If I leave, Shaul says, there's no point in chasing after him. I can't go to the Pelishtim and forget about me, leave me alone. That's me. It'll be mityaesh, as they say. That's how you say it? It'll be mityaesh. Mityaesh. Yeah, yeshivas and guys say meyaesh. Or guys who don't know how to say it. No. Not Meyaesh, Mityaesh. Okay. The Noash mimeni Shaul will give up Levaksheni oid to keep looking for me B'chol Gavul Yisrael in the whole of the land of Israel. V'nimlatati miyado, and then I'll escape from his hand because he's not going to. I mean, at some point he's going to realize that I'm not here. He's going to look and he not find me. Up till now, when he looked, he found me, right? Because he had his spies and the Zipim, and they told him, right? But after I leave and he can't find me anymore, he says, well, he's not here, I don't know where he is. I can't come into Palestine because that's foreign territory, they're his enemies. And that way I'll escape. Okay?
Yeah.
What's Gavol?
Gavul, the borders, in all the borders of Israel. That means he'll give up hope of finding me in the land of Israel, and that way I'll escape.
What if he attacks the Palestine?
Well, maybe, right. You see, I don't understand. David escaped either way. Even if Shaul doesn't give up hope of finding him in the land of Israel, he's still going to escape because he's not in the land of Israel, he's in the Palestine.
Yeah.
I know, I wouldn't have said it like that. It's a bit strange what he's saying. Yaqam David got up. Ya'avor, and he passed. That means he passed over the border to the land of the Palestine. Who v'sheshmos ish imoi? He and his 600 men with him. Asher imoi, who were with him. These were still with him. El Achish, he went to Achish, same guy, same king, right? And here it tells you who his father was. Then Ma'och. I don't think last time we knew who his father was.
Okay.
I don't think so. Let's check that out. Nachash, Yehuda. Where was it? Here it's, how far was it? Achish. No. Some strange reason. There it just called him Achish, the king of Gath. I know he says Achish Melech Ma'och, Ben Ma'och, son of Ma'och. Obviously that's something to do with the story, but I don't know what it is. Now, I suppose that the simple answer lies in the fact that David wasn't on his own anymore. When David was on his own, he was an easy catch. And therefore they said, let's kill him. And now he's got 600 guys with him. So you can't just have a fight with David and his 600 guys. You could, but then you're going to have lots of casualties. That's not worthwhile, right?
They do wars all the time.
Well, if you've got something to gain, like enemy territory, or you got it in for this guy because he killed Goliath, say, okay, it's not worth having 200 dead Philistines just to get David. If David comes on a peace treaty, we can shake hands on that, Just because he ran our enemies don't mean we can't have peace with them. At some point, hopefully we'll have peace and they'll leave us alone. That way we'll have less casualties. That's it. So since I've got all these, that's what it says. David came with his 600 men and he came to Achish. And it could be that's why it mentions Achish's father, because when you mention someone's father, it means it's less official. It's more personal. It became more of a personal relationship because, telling you his genealogy. Maybe.
It became more personal because he wasn't able to kill him?
Yeah, that's how it is. You think that Trump is now blasting Iran to bits, and if they sit down to peace, they'll shake hands, right? And there'll be buddies, and they'll make a drink over it. Who was it on the floor of the White House? Rabin and Arafat shook hands, right? Anyone can shake hands with friends. Peace is when you make friends with enemies, right? That's what it is. Or you shake hands with enemies at least. So it became more familial, the relationship. Maybe. Vayeshev David, and David dwelt im Achish, with Achish, Begat, which was the name of the town, who ve'anashah, he and his men, Ish ubeito, each man with his household. So these men weren't just on their own; they were also with their families. If you're an outlaw, your family's outlawed too. We know that when David went into the cave, his family came with. Okay, so up till now we didn't mention the families of these men, and now David also had his families. David had 2 wives. Remember, David and his 2 wives, who were Achinoam HaYisraelit, Achinoam from Israel, the Abigail. This is an interesting line. Aishes Naval Carmelis. I would have written the former wife of Naval from Carmel. It doesn't say that. It says the wife of Naval. That's the way you say that. Yes, her husband was dead. Right, so she wasn't the wife of Naval anymore, was she?
What's this one word?
Which word? Ha-Yisraelit. From Jezreel, that's the name of a place. So like you're Australian, right? So she was Yisraelit. The tough at the end is because she was a woman. The Yisraelite. That's what she was. Not from Israel, Yezreel.
So Shaul's daughter's with him now?
No. You make a mistake. Her name was Michal. He had 3 wives now. Michal was Shaul's.
The third one.
Oh, you didn't. We mentioned on the way because it says immediately after he took Abigail, it says, and he also married Achinoam HaYisraelit, and they had 2 wives with him, and his 3rd wife was back with who? Palti ben Laish was looking after her, making sure that she had food to eat, safe, and protected from many other people who may take advantage of her semi-single status. Okay, so David is there with his men, his merry men and their wives and their whole families, and that's also probably one of the reasons why Aish wasn't so scared about David. David wasn't really a threat. When David was on his own, he was more of a threat. But he's with families and kids and children, and it's just a big,
He's with an army.
Yes, but then with the wives, they're always not ready to fight. You don't bring your wives and kids when you're ready to fight. You go out just in the army.
You don't think that they had their wives with them the whole time? Well, I'm saying when he came to the position before, he was by himself.
Right. Okay,
But
that's the difference.
since everyone came with when the
No. In those days, what they did was we saw the 400 left, and they left the 200 behind. Those 200 behind were to look after the families who would stay behind. They didn't have to fight, just the men. So here,
That makes sense.
Aish will give them a place to live in Gat, and when the children, there's no fighting, right? So, okay, there's different points. I'm saying each of these points are being
Makes
pointed
sense.
out. That's probably why the Apostle points out. Why it's explained why Aish suddenly agreed to have David around. There's 600 of them, also with their wives and children, and therefore it's obviously more of a peaceful thing, and there's less we can do about it. And so let's just live at peace, and we'll live side by side. And you see, actually, Aish actually thinks this is his advantage. Not just he's a nice guy.
Yeah,
He actually thinks.
David's a pretty good warrior.
And what are they going to do?
So if you want,
Who are they going to fight?
Well,
Oh, that's the question. That's the best of the chapter. Yes, Aish sees David as a resource for helping him fight. The question who David is going to fight on behalf of Aish. And because Aish's major enemy is Shaul. Right, so God can't do that. Okay, that's what the rest of the chapter is to discuss. How does David win the trust?
Wait, Naval is a person.
Naval was the husband of and this woman was Naval's. Remember Naval? He was the guy.
Yeah.
So his wife was now married to Naval.
That's how cross. How
Now,
is.
no. Carmeli was the
Oh, the place.
the place where they came
the
from,
place.
right? Right. That's how you usually say Yerushalmi, Tel Avivi. You just put you there, and that's where you're from.
Yeah.
So Carmeli means a person from Carmel. Carmel, not in Haifa. Different Carmel. Right, not the winery. Yeah.